So, just a preface here, this is my third failed recording. Kaltura wouldn't work, so I'm using this Screencast-O-Matic software. So if this gets any points off, I'm sorry, Dr. Burleson, I can't make anything work. So, I've contacted the help desk and everything. But without further ado, here is my presentation on JP Morgan Chase & Co. I'm Heston Wynn, and I am presenting the opportunities and growth within the company that new employees or potential prospects for the company have to look forward to. So when we think of what JP Morgan is, it's like a good environment, right? Imagine every life is like a tree. You can put a good seed into a bad environment and it won't grow very far. But if you take a seed and you put it into a good environment, it can grow and it will have many opportunities to get light and sunlight for it. And that's sort of like JP Morgan Chase. So there are two main qualities I like to emphasize here when talking about the growth and opportunity for JP Morgan Chase. So one is that it is a company that emphasizes the values of sustainability and social good. So what do I mean by that? JP Morgan Chase is part of 14 member organizations across the world that focus on helping push for an environmentally friendly business model or business structure throughout the world. One of these is called the RE100, which is a group of businesses that is committed to using 100% sustainable energy, and JP Morgan Chase is pushing for that this year. Another is the CEF, which is a sustainability forum and for businesses. And the last one that I can list off the top of my head is the Commission for Business and Sustainable Business and Development. So these communities JP Morgan Chase is part of and has a big voice in is how they are pushing for this sort of these sustainability measures, right? And so the potential for young bankers here to grow in an environment that aligns with their values of sustainability, as is common with millennials and Gen Z and all of those entering the marketplace, there's a lot of potential to not only work for a company that has a high prestige such as JP Morgan Chase, and we'll talk about that in a sec, but also to join a company that emphasizes the importance of sustainability and sustainable business. So when we look at JP Morgan Chase and how large they are, how much potential they have, how much room does your young banker have to grow? Well, they manage 2.74 trillion assets. That is more than Bank of America's 2.38 trillion, and that is more than Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley's 925 and 875 billion respectively. This puts JP Morgan Chase as the #1 largest bank by asset management in the entire world. What does 2.74 trillion look like? Well, that's a good fraction of our national debt. That's about how big it is. And it takes a lot to be a good portion of that. So what does this mean for people that are going to JP Morgan Chase? Well, this means that people who join the company have a lot of different opportunities to manage assets that they find value with. So if you're someone, again, that loves sustainability, that wants to do something that impacts social good, you have opportunities to manage that. If you're someone that wants to manage assets related to healthcare or potentially, technology, then you have projects at JP Morgan Chase, more likely than not, that will help you push that opportunity. And the scale to which you can be successful, well, with $2.74 trillion in assets, the scale is endless for the average human being. But of course, if you're the average human being, you're probably not applying here. This is a very prestigious organization and is the second most prestigious in the world, and is shown with the brand. It's a very stable brand. It's a brand that that gives its employees stability. In this COVID-19 era, in this unstable climate, in comparison, JP Morgan Chase is committed to closing down the banks, those branches, but those workers of those branches will get paid their full salary, right? They're treated fairly, what I mean by they're treated fairly is that if they are unable to work because of this closing of branches, they're not going to get not paid, right? They're going to still get paid and paid fairly, right? And they're experienced and effective with crisis management. Well, they're an organization that's existed for over 100 years, I would imagine so, and they've continued to show that with how they've addressed fairness throughout the treatment in these tough times, and with how they're continuing operations across their investment banking and consumer banking by moving people off Wall Street and making sure there are strict sanitation measures in place for all workers. And all in all, it's just a very well-respected brand across the industries and continents. CA as 2.74 trillion is far more than just a single, means that they're probably dealing with more than one industry and that they are multinational, right? They have operations in the APAC region, the Asia Pacific region, and the EU region, the European Union region, and Britain, of course. And they also have operations in South America as well. So those are the opportunities and the growth opportunities for JP Morgan Chase & Co.